Welcome to HQ, starting from the big toe, thanks to Kadur Ziani, our ATG mobility mentor. Guy's 49 years old. He came here, taught us in person, gave us an eye-opening moment that we have weak and stiff big toes. He's the oldest, shortest known dunker, success leaves clues, so it made sense to me to start with the big toe.
Yeah, it's amazing how you can find anybody that has had knee issues and is very tight. I don't know someone who has those issues and has a very flexible fascial.
There's a strong correlation in the people we've seen at HQ so far.
Correct, correct. And the good thing about this, you say you're older, really tight, you just put your toes there and you just start putting a little pressure. And as you get more and more flexible, you start leaning back. Okay, so it's super scalable.
Yeah, and I have intent, like I'm actually working through the big toe. So I'd rather have intent here, pain-free, and gradually be able to put that weight with intent than force yourself through it.
Right.
Now, from big toe, flowing up to the calf, maybe it's from footwear, modern footwear with huge heel cushions for style beyond what's necessary, but the next thing we see is really tight calf muscles, seems to go away very easily on a slant board.
Yep. This is the first level, and then of course if you want to get, if you're more flexible, you just put that hip more forward, keep the knee locked out.
I actually have in the zero shred version of this, doing a calf raise out of it.
There you go.
So it's not the end of the world to also progress. Something seems nice about progressing that strength, but even just being able to lean forward on a slant board. Same thing here though. I'm actually I'm actually flexing a bit, like actively using those calf muscles. So we went big toe, now calf. Slide out, I'll show body weight. Fernando will show bar. We think it should not be so rare to be able to touch the floor while standing on this, but we've been testing tons of people. 9 out of 10 times, people cannot stand on a board with quads flexed and touch the floor. So for the back, I mean, I can't imagine going through life that stiff. It doesn't really make sense to me to be that stiff. And something about adding the calf to it, I think people are particularly tight in here, especially if someone's had a knee surgery. I'm seeing people are majorly tight through the upper calf and hamstring. So I'm like here on the zero shred version of this. Fernando's using a bar. He can widen his grip.
Yeah, so as you get more and more flexible, go to collar, go all the way down.
Amazing.
Another thing I like about this is that this also works your foot muscles. You have to sort of grip and again, like you were saying, work through that and really use those muscles to help yourself stabilize.
Yep. Yeah. Now that sequence alone, I think is gold. I really think I could stop the video right here, and that could be really worthwhile to help yourself and other people open up that entire posterior chain. But you also notice you start working up there, now it starts getting even easier to get into the hips. So we're in like a 90-90 position. Someone tighter could start even closer. When we're going this way, you're gonna feel it nice through the outside. Honestly, you could chill, catch up on messages on your phone. This is a really relaxing one. And then Fernando can show you now onto the internal side of it.
Yep. You wanna try to sit back. A more advanced version is to keep this big toe down. If that's too much, that's fine.
I'm not even on that version for frame of reference.
Yeah.
But Fernando's getting into that version, which is impressive. That's from Kadur, shout out.
Yeah, Kadur taught me that one. It's been amazing for me. And yeah, you're just sitting back, really sartorius.
This is getting into some of the deepest hip muscles. Yeah. If it feels a bit weird at first, I get it. If you have small children, their internal rotation is crazy. So you're actually, what I was thinking about is if I think to put my opposite shoulder towards my foot, then I start working that internal rotation.
Yeah.
Why would that matter? Imagine a quarterback throwing, but who's limited there. So internal rotation is actually a very real part of hip flexibility. I don't think you have to force it, but for me it just makes sense to work both sides. For any kind of sport where you have lateral motion, you'd want to be like our basic standard is like, it shouldn't be hard to touch foot to head,
No.
but that's external rotation. But it also, I don't really know a standard for it, but gently work that internal rotation just makes sense to me. Fernando will set up on the couch stretch while I show the butterfly. This one from home, I'm just against the wall using my hands. The standard is being able to get knees down to the mat. And you could, from the gym, you actually could put weights and see like how much can you lift with that groin. I feel like for my intents and purposes, this I can get enough with my own hands, but this can also be a nice feel to it.
And like in that stretch in this one, squeezing the glutes kind of as a pulse, okay? So you can squeeze those glutes.
Get all the way around here, Drew.
And you're gonna wanna...
Yeah, keep going.
So I like to go forward.
There you go.
10, 15 seconds. Again, you can squeeze your glutes on and off to help you get a little deeper. And then you wanna get that glutes and chest back to the wall. That's gonna hit a little more of the quad, okay?
Outstanding.
And this goes more into the hip flexor, lower ab area, all right?
Outstanding. Again, for people who've had knee surgeries, the consistency on that couch stretch can be life-changing. It's not about doing it once. When you've had knee, so like I have a partially artificial kneecap here. The doctor said, okay, this will never bend like a normal person's knee. What does this look like to you? I'm practically back at childlike mobility, despite some artificial material right here that adds real, there's like real mass in here. I had to get extra mobile. So like for my right leg, it was very easy to get into that position over time. The left one took consistency, but it seems to still work. So I'm talking doing that consistently over months. You could totally shock yourself, but not forcing. Fernando was owning the position with all these stretches. I see a big difference between ripping against yourself versus what position can you own and feel strong and stable. So in this case, that would mean he can contract his glute. That would mean even he could flex the quad if he wanted, like press with the quad, and things seem to open up pretty well.
Yeah, something I want to say on that is getting flexible takes a lot longer than maintaining flexibility. So you have to have the mental preparedness to really put time into it, okay? Flexibility is the first thing our bodies lose. Not your hormones, not your ability to build, none of that stuff. It's actually, we start to get tight. So start wherever you are now, start now and do it consistently and you'll maintain as much as you can.
Yeah, it may sound silly, but I think it was this analogy of like someone who learns how to play the piano, it takes like 6 times longer to learn it than it does to maintain the same skill. When I thought of that for flexibility, it kind of made sense, and now we can get into these positions a lot easier. So I'll actually show you what this could look like, kind of like our end game. I intentionally didn't go through any rounds of this just so I can show you. So here's our full range of motion. So ass to grass, split squat. I'm trying to get front hamstring to cover the calf without the heel lifting, without the back knee touching the floor. So this position, how many people will achieve that right there? Doesn't really matter. I started elevated and assisted because this knee had more tears I was told I needed surgery on. So my left was then catching up easily and with full range of motion, squats and backward sled and couch stretch, things were going well. But my right one, without this, I really don't know where I'd be naturally. Elevating the front foot, notice this requires less mobility. Putting your hand on something requires less strength. So this is our king. This is the final step of the lower body mobility routine. This is our king mobility exercise, but it scales in both the range of motion and the strength.
I love this one.
Still active in this.
Yeah, you know what's crazy about this one is I started this exercise. I was running a 5'2", 5'3" in my 40 at 24 years old, and I ended up starting with this exact height. Ben, I don't know if you remember back in the OG. And I started with this, I started with dumbbells, I started with barbell before I even had the flexibility, but I was increasing my flexibility week to week. I think it was in 4 weeks working on this exercise and a posterior chain exercise that I dropped my, this is timed, I think it was on lasers, was from a 5.1, 5.2 down to a 4.7 in 3 weeks.
He went from slow to fast and really
Yeah.
never looked back. And when he says posterior chain, he means like we were always doing something like a Nordic or a seated good morning or a Romanian deadlift. So even when you see my knees over toes stuff, well, like I'm trying to be just as strong knees behind toes.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
But yeah, for Fernando, I think when it comes to athleticism, and I feel the same way for jumping, there's something pretty magical when strength and mobility start to be trained at the exact same time. So I think with this whole routine, it caps off really nicely with the ass to grass split squat. Now, we wanted to do a bonus, like this is our Wednesday routine right now. We come into the gym, we set up the flow, we have those 7 exercises. Optionally, we have a shoulder routine of 4 exercises. So Fernando is going to show you that with my more shoulder jacked counterpart, Marcel, who has a tennis background where I never went through, other than as a point guard, doing repetitive passing drills against the wall, winding up with really nasty chronic shoulder pain, and using the first of these 4 really handle it. I've never had shoulder problems since. But for a sport like tennis or Fernando in football, I think you need more. So Marcel will mic up here. Fernando will keep going. Marcel will start us off with external rotation.
So for the external rotator, we want to place our foot on the bench high enough so that when you have the knee that you're going to place your arm. The arm is basically level with your shoulder. If you go a little bit too far down, it's going to be a little bit easier to rotate the weight up. But these are training these muscles right here that are responsible for externally rotating the arm here, hence external rotation, small muscles like the infraspinatus. And these are the muscles that are responsible for decelerating your arm. So for me in tennis, I'm throwing my arm in that direction. So these are basically the brakes of that motion. And as you've covered in different areas before, the body is not going to output force that it cannot control, that it cannot hold back, or else it'll just be damaging at that point.
It has its systems. It knows internally, hey, you're gonna injure yourself if I don't have strong brakes here, so it'll hold you back.
So you try to maintain this nice 90-degree angle of the arm. Wrist, you don't try to be like flicking it around too much. You keep it nice and firm, lower it as far down as you can, and then externally rotate it back up.
I was gonna say, as a football player, I was a quarterback for a decade. That saved, I had tons of injuries and so much pain. That exercise is what got me back into, function and ability in my shoulder. And comboed that within this one I'm about to show here, the pullover, gave me the range of motion back that really brought my
So for like throwing motions, not just football, we have baseball, volleyball players that throw their arms out, All those movements, the external rotation is great for.
So here, I try to put my upper back onto the bench. My neck just stays semi-relaxed. And then I just 99% locked out. Little elbow bend is fine. Drop your hips as you get more flexible.
Look at that stretch on the lat, too. Yeah, for tennis, that you have to open up so much in your strokes, this stretch right here is phenomenal for the shoulder.
So like a split squat, you're increasing range of motion, but strength through that range of motion, which is again what gives one athletic ability.
All right, now for the cross bench, you're opening up your arms in this direction, which flows very nicely with the trap 3 raise. Now, the trap 3 is this muscles that goes down the back. It's shaped like a trapezius. And we like to do this on the back extension just because it's very stable to do it off of this back extension machine. So you'll set yourself up on the machine, your arms will hang. You don't want to try to swing the weight up. You don't want to try to increase momentum. From here, arms locked out, you extend out forward, and then pull back.
So the trap 3 reference is essentially the trap muscle goes from your neck down to actually pretty low in your back. And it's just compartmented. Section 1, section 2, section 3, okay? So it's the lower traps that we're working in this one. It's very good form. So this is helping stabilize the entire shoulder structure, shoulder blades, all in conjunction.
Now the standards for these exercises, specifically the external and the trap 3, is around 10%. But for sports, which require more strength in your shoulder and bulletproofing, you're totally safe to go between 12 to 15%.
Yeah, I train a lot of fighters, MMA guys. You're gonna want these at closer to 12 to 15. Especially if you're in a body weight type of sport, so you're gonna be lighter weight, you definitely wanna have more percentage than that. Okay, I'm gonna show now the Powell raise. This is my favorite rear delt mid-back exercise. So this is very simple. You just straddle the bench, stabilize yourself with this arm. You want to get a nice, good stretch here. So let it stretch over, and from here, you just come up.
This is a significant amount of weight for this exercise. Most people start around 5% of body weight, so think 200-pound person, 10 pounds would be a good place to start. The standard is 10% of body weight. So Fernando's actually working beyond that to try to get even more elite shoulders and upper back. Definitely one of the weakest I started at. This was Fernando's idea on the setup, and it really seems to lock in the setup. It gives you stability. That is outstanding work.
And very easy. You just switch arms. Switch over here. There.
Amazing. So, band pull apart is an awesome exercise, gets blood flow. However, there's a little bit more adaptation potential when you work through range of motion in addition to getting that pump. So this doesn't mean that every person should start here. Band pull apart is an awesome way to start just to get those muscles working, but we do think the best of the best results are going to come from free weight, exact measurement, through range of motion, which has stood the test of time in bodybuilding and strength training.
Yeah, and different times we'll show different variations and levels as we go, but this is just a staple for shoulder, again, ability.
I think that's my number one for improving my upper body for my basketball goals. The external rotation, I'm being fully honest, external rotation and pullover are the only two upper body exercises I haven't skipped since starting ATG. I've mainly just skipped upper body and just been like I get to go play basketball today and dunk and not have my knees hurt. It's great. So that's where I get my happiness from. But for someone else, that might be the case for the shoulder. I hope this helps you with that. I hope we achieved our goal today, which was treating Drew as if it was you in the gym with us, delivering maximum value, no fancy intros. We have no ad money on this YouTube channel. I said that at 4,000 subscribers, here we are, working our way over 900,000. Still no ad money. But here's our ad part. What do we do for a living? We try to make the exact programs we're doing in the gym. This was the concept, online. That's now grown to original online members who form our tech team now. We have our own app in the App Store, our own app team, under 24-hour service, 7 days a week. My mom still runs customer service. So basically, if you want to do any of the ATG programs and try to have the best possible customer service we can provide for $50 a month, no long-term contract, that's what we do. That's our ad. Additionally, Fernando makes the only supplement I take currently. He advises me on my diet and supplement, which is essential amino acids, meaning the ones that we do have to get from food. Our body doesn't make it. And electrolytes. So those are two primary things I'm breaking down. I thought about it, and my goal of not playing basketball all week and being in NBA shape on the weekend, which is completely unrealistic. I have to be pretty sharp with my diet because I don't get all those extra calories burned. So this works for me, but if I was in the NFL, I'd be putting this in coconut water and sipping it all practice, weight room sessions, games. So I thought about that I thought I could explain it better. That it's like the idea is not to do an extreme diet. This is actually helping me to be not on an extreme diet, not having to be hungry. It kills my hunger when I go through these kind of long sessions. We're about to go play basketball. I have to do my next crazy dunk and explanation, and that's not easy, and I often mess up my lines, have to do it a bunch of times. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks to every person who has been a member of ATG Online. That's what makes it possible for us to do this. Any last words?
I was gonna say, I'm here to help. If you guys have diet, supplement questions, I'm happy
We'll dive in on the comments.
Happy to be in there. I'm gonna dive in the comments if you guys have anything there. Thank you for watching.
Yep. Marcel, amazing work. Thanks, brother. All right, guys. See you next week. Thank you.